We're losing our minds. Depression, anxiety and other disorders are on the rise. But what are the solutions to this mental health crisis? We explore the big questions and unique approaches to boosting our psychological well-being. On this week's show, South African healers are more popular and accessible than a therapist. Once maligned as witch doctors, we examine how their traditional approaches could improve the country's mental health system. And South Korea dominates archery, an Olympic sport where brain power determines who wins the gold medal. I meet the sports psychologists who help these athletes prepare for high-level competition and learn what it takes to hit the bullseye under pressure. This is Mindset.
Traditional healing has always been.
Gogo Lindiwe Ndebele Koka is one of an estimated 200,000 traditional healers working across South Africa.
So you take the bones and just call on your ancestors, your maternal side, and you ask them for clarity.
She specialises in an old school healing ritual called throwing the bones.
Okay, just go whoo inside here.
Blow.
Yeah.
Each item on the mat represents a relative or ancestor of mine. Gogo Lindiwe looks at how they're grouped together where they fell, then offers advice to me like a wise old grandmother, or Gogo.
There's a lot of good things happening around you at the moment. You know, there's a lot of light. But I'm seeing here from your father's side, there's some aura of darkness. So you may find that someone died.
He's dead. He is dead.
And you never cleansed. In our culture, when someone has died, there has to be cleansing, and you also have to acknowledge that spirit and bring the spirit home. That's the journey. That's the spiritual journey.
To identify and treat mental ailments, healers have all sorts of remedies. Some throw bones, others buy them for medicine. In South Africa's biggest city, Johannesburg, healer Kiense Badirwang is shopping with her patient, Tembi. This local market has an array of animal and plant products for sale. Kiense shows me some of her favourite ingredients for treating mental health conditions.
This product that I bought here really assists with treating mental health disorders, right? Like if you take the sage and put it in water, or you can even burn it, because when you burn it and you inhale it, right, it goes to the brain and calms down your neural imbalances. You know, my patients come to me with anxiety or panic attacks. So once you get to treat them with this, and this as well works wonders for me.
Kiense says it's a calling that comes from her ancestors who help guide her work.
With me, they come through dreams and visions during the day, and talking to me, I hear voices, they tell me what to do, and like a very intuitive form of communication. It's something that you are born with. I didn't wake up and say I want to be a traditional healer. It originated from my father's side of the family.
Later that day, Kiense takes Tembi to a nature reserve to perform a healing ceremony with the products she bought at the market. This tradition needs to be done near a lake, waterfall or river.
Water is very important for traditional healers because, you know, it's a source of life, and we are also paying respects to the water spirits that are giving us light.
Kiense believes her ability to connect with patients stems from her own trauma. She's a survivor of rape and domestic abuse.
People that make good traditional healers are people that have gone through similar experiences or past traumas, so that they can be able to assist their patients. I have been through multiple forms of gender-based violence. So if anyone had to come to me with issues of mental illnesses associated with gender-based violence, then I am in a better position to assist them because I have survived that multiple times.
Do you see yourself as a therapist?
Yes, definitely, because I do a lot of counseling. More than anything, it's about sitting with the patient, offering them that support to say, talk to me, I am here. Because sometimes that's what people need, right, in terms of healing or reducing the numbers of mental disorders.
You know, before coming to South Africa, I was a little bit concerned that I wouldn't understand the worldview of a traditional healer. They'd be on a completely different mental plane to me. But after spending time with Kiense, I have to say, she's bold, she's personable, she builds a bond with people in her orbit. And I can really see why someone would seek out her services. South Africa has a population of 62 million people, but just 670 psychiatrists to treat them. Dr. Lerato Dikobe Kalane is one of them.
I think because of the history of our country, the trauma that people have gone through, 1 in 3 people will be diagnosed with a mental illness somewhere in their lifetime. We see a lot of patients, our diaries are full, so the situation is quite dire.
She says about 60% of people here with a mental illness will go through life undiagnosed, and that healers could help address this demand. But what kinds of mental conditions do you think they could be useful?
Like mild anxiety disorders, mild depressive disorders, bereavement, complicated bereavements, they can then intervene and help them. But for the more severe, like the psychotic episodes or the bipolar disorders, then they'll be able to refer them out to the clinics earlier. Then our community nurses can even get to them.
Dr. Lerato believes healers can provide holistic spiritual care in clinical settings. She knows this firsthand because her mother and grandmother were healers at a time when such practices were criminalised and demonised as witchcraft. That demonisation began almost 400 years ago during the colonisation of South Africa, with the spread of Christianity fueling fear against healers.
People would be arrested for practicing their traditional method. But as the years have passed, we realised that there's nothing dark about African spirituality. People are embracing their Africanism and not just wanting to conform to Western culture. No one is better than the other. So for me, as a Western practitioner, it is my responsibility to understand a person's cultural background so as to be able to help them appropriately and refer them adequately. So we need to teach each other.
The University of Cape Town is South Africa's oldest and most prestigious tertiary college. It's one of the first institutions to combine psychology with traditional healing as part of its counselling service for students. From early 2023, Dr. Christy Van Zyl, known as Gogo Bazamile, has been working as the university's resident traditional healer, helping students learn how to deal with trauma and anxiety.
So they come in and Gogo, how does this work? What am I here for? And then I have to then explain. I'm going to explain to you how your spiritual circumstance is having an effect on your mental and emotional capacities. How perhaps trauma and wounding that you've experienced in this physical world is having an impact on your spiritual hygiene.
She emphasises she's not replacing psychologists, but rather working in tandem with them.
You find the students coming to me for psycho-spiritual counseling to understand what's happening with my ancestors. What are these symptoms that I'm experiencing? What are the mechanisms and tools that I can use to be able to keep myself regulated emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, such that it doesn't affect my academic productivity?
Gogo Bazamile also takes students off campus to perform rituals. Today, she's holding a forest cleansing ceremony with Yibanati, a 21-year-old psychology student who suffers from depression. Yibanati was seeing a psychologist and takes antidepressants, but was referred to Gogo Bazamile to help her navigate her mental health challenges. So what gaps does a traditional healer fill that a therapist does not?
As African people, I think we've inherited a lot of
spiritual debt from the historical events that have happened in Africa, you know, being colonized and being deprived of that connection with our ancestors. Those are things that psychology or psychotherapy cannot necessarily like fix. So how our ancestors usually communicate those issues that they want fixed is through dreams. Usually some people hear voices, see things. So that's where spiritual healers come in.
How has she helped you navigate the challenges that you face in life?
I think it's that element of being understood and expressing myself, that when she came by, I could easily talk about the spiritual stuff.
It sounds like it's opened your mind.
I mean, if you're not healthy mentally, then you just, it's sort of like you're not living.
You might remember, back when I was throwing the bones with Gogo Lindiwe, she suggested that I do a cleansing. Well, Gogo Bazamile says she has the perfect remedy, but it requires a steep journey to Cape Town's high altitudes.
We are going to go to the waterfall. We're going to burn some candles, burn some sage, connect with my ancestors, call on your forefathers to be spiritually present during your cleansing under the waterfall. And under the waterfall, we'll be using a few herbs just to cleanse exhaustion, fatigue, anxiety, and negative energy.
Right. Well, I've never done that before. Gogo Bazamile throws coins into the water and recites prayers as she prepares to summon my ancestors.
If you could just let me know the names of your forefathers, if you do know, as far back as you know.
Yeah. Ambrose, and my mother's side, Maskell.
Ambrose and Maskell.
Yeah, and bone as well.
And bone.
Like the animal bone.
Okay.
Bone.
So I'm calling on the ancestors of Drew today. The ancestors from the Ambrose clan, from the Maskell clan, from the Bone clan. We're calling on his ancestors today to be present in this spiritual cleansing.
Gogo Bazamile tells me to enter the waterfall. She douses me with a bucket of milk and burns sage to banish bad luck. The noise of the cascading water blocks out the outside world. All I can hear are her prayers. The smell of the sage burning, the sensation of the cold water, it does give you a sense of calm. When someone has anxiety, depression, mental issues, how does this process help them?
So basically what we do, Drew, is that we ask for intercession from their forefathers to come in, and whatever negative and dark energy is causing the depression and anxiety, for them to clear it out, to clear that path, to remove those unconscious negative energies from being attached to their spirit, which usually have a depressive, anxiety, panic attack effect on someone's emotional and mental capacities.
I really felt that when I was holding on with the full force of the water bearing down on me, and your intervention as well. Like, I've never felt anything like it.
You're welcome, Drew.
Let's. You know, this was an eye-opening experience. I learnt so much from the traditional healers here. And I think the key takeaway is traditional practices and psychology, they can go hand in hand. That's really inspiring. But South Africa isn't the only nation in the world where unique psychological approaches are improving the mental outlook. In South Korea, psychologists play a pivotal role in a sport that this Asian nation dominates. Hidden away among the mountains of rural South Korea is one of the world's best archery academies. Over the years, athletes from more than 40 countries, including national teams, have come here to learn from Kim Hyung-tak, the first coach to lead South Korea's archery team to Olympic glory, he's considered a guru. Archery requires intense training, marksmanship and consistency, not to mention the ability to always remain calm under pressure.
How much is archery a psychological sport, a mental sport?
High level scoring very close. 1 millimeter, 2 millimeter decided the gold medal. So whose mental is strong is very important.
In Olympic archery, athletes are locked in high-pressure duels where they compete in best-of-5 sets and fire arrows at a target 70 metres away.
Technical, physical condition, everybody at the high level is the same. But mental, everybody different. Most archers they had very much pressure during the shooting. So how to make their positive mind is very important during their practice time.
To strengthen an archer's mindset, Coach Kim uses image training, where they visualise the arrow flying through the air and hitting the target. Such techniques help combat an affliction called target panic, where competitors lose their nerve just before firing.
So target panic, is it doubt? Is it fear? Is it nerves? What drives target panic?
Target panic is during the beginner, they didn't make the good shooting form. And so after aiming the yellow, it's no confidence. But I have one method. This one, I give them to make the sound. After drawing, start to make a sound. Focus sound. Not shooting. Focus sound, no target panic. 100% very easy change.
Coach Kim's pupils train up to 6 hours a day, shooting hundreds of arrows. One of them is Diana Al-Daoud, a member of Jordan's archery team.
You want to compete at the Olympic Games and other big competitions. How important is getting your mind right to success?
It's very important because we have so many archers, me myself included. When you're in the practice field, you shoot amazing shots, and then the minute you go and transfer onto the shooting field, something just clicks and you get nervous and your heartbeat rises, and it's just it's one of the most important factors to be able to stay calm, stay relaxed, and be able to shoot your shot as you normally would in the practice field.
And that man over there, how much is he a guru for you?
Oh my God, he's my Korean dad. Coach Kim has been amazing. He has reignited the fire and the passion. He gives us our mental training, what we should do prior to heading to the field, what we should do once we arrive to the field, what to do in practice with mental imaging and visualization. He builds up your confidence by concentrating on your strengths while helping you fix the issues that you need to fix. The way he looks at archery, I think he wants us to enjoy it a lot more than to stress about it. Because we're all here like stressed and, you know, nervous and like just want to get to our goals and want to work hard. And he's been in the industry and he's been the coach for so many years. I think he just wants to see us maybe also enjoy it a little bit more.
I can imagine it can be hard not to stress that anyway.
It is very, very, very difficult. But, you know, we're trying, yeah.
Diana says it's psychological strength that makes South Korea's archers so formidable.
You can never see the emotions on the South Korean archers. You never know what's going on in their mind. They just have such a big support team around them, I think, from coaches to mental training psychologists. And yeah, they're just mentally, you know, they got it. They have it down.
Since South Korea made its debut in Olympic archery, it's won 2/3 of the gold medals awarded at the Games. And how's this for a stat? The country's female archers have won gold in the team event at every Olympics since 1988. Sports psychologist Hwang Song-tak played a key role in South Korea's success by mentally preparing the archery team for the 2004 Athens Olympics. Today, he's working with some of the country's best female archers in a team coached by 3-time Olympic gold medalist Park Sang-hyung.
오케이. 자, 이번 한 판은 5초 있다가 슈도포 상황이다라고 생각을 하고 한번 하면서 5초 정도 슈팅을 할 수 있는 감을 나타내는 기술 상태를 발휘하는 몸 상태를 만들 것이냐에 대한 부분인데 그러기에 가장 효과적으로 사용되는 게 호흡에 대한 그런 부분입니다.
The heavy rain makes it hard to see the bullseye, but South Korean archers train for all kinds of weather. Coaches even use wind and noise machines to prepare them for challenging conditions. And those aren't the only devices they use.
You look like you're getting ready to go to the airport. What's in the suitcases? What have you got in there?
네, 오늘 제가 두 가지를 준비를 했습니다. 한 가지는 양궁 선수들이 가장 편안하고 안정된 심리적인 상태를 유지하기 위해서 어떻게 심호흡을 할 것인가에 대한 부분들을 측정하고 훈련을 시키는 그런 장비고요. 또 하나는 양궁은 굉장히 집중력이 필요로 하는 그런 운동이죠. 보시다시피요. 예, 그래서 이 장비는 선수들이 갖고 있는 어떤 뇌파를 이용해서 현재 어떤 스트레스와 혹은 집중에 대한 부분을 분석을 해서 훈련을 시키는 그런 장비가 되겠습니다.
By measuring an athlete's breathing pattern, heart rhythm and brainwaves, Hong trains archers to achieve a calm and relaxed state, whatever the conditions.
그 중에 가장 기억에 남는 선수가 한 명 있습니다. 예, 그 선수는 항상 시합에 나가게 되면은 그 첫 발을 쏠 때 굉장히 많이 이 긴장을 많이 받고 실제 연습했던 것과는 달리 상당히 어떤 좋지 않은 어떤 결과에 대한 부분을 얻어내서 굉장히 힘들어했던 그런 선수가 있었어요. 그래서 그때 그 선수들의 심박수를 측정하는 기계를 몸에 부착을 하고 실제 연습뿐만 아니라 시합장에 가서 제가 직접 이런 모니터를 보고 그 선수의 심장 박동의 어떤 변화를 봤죠. 사선에서 그냥 서서 활을 쏘게 되면은 심장이 많이 뛰었죠. 그래서 이 선수는 사선에서 자연스럽게 체중 이동을 좌우로 하면서 호흡을 하면서 릴렉스한 느낌을 받게 한 상태에서 준비가 되면 슈팅을 하겠는데 그런 루틴을 갖게 되니까 심호흡이 굉장히 안정이 됐어요. 그래서 그 선수는 세계 선수권대회, 올림픽에서 금메달을 땄고 또 세계의 1위의 어떤 순위를 또 얻는 그런 쾌거를 또 갖게 되었었죠. 리사주?
Yep.
양궁 쏴보신 적이 있으세요?
I have never fired any form of weapon before, so I am really quite nervous. I just hope it doesn't go over there.
Before leaving the range, Professor Hong and Coach Park want me to experience the mental pressure firsthand.
오케이. 쏘시기 전에 관역을 잘 보시고 자신의 정신을 딱 집중을 하셔야 될 것 같고요. 또 그 편안한 어떤 마음 상태를 유지하는 게 굉장히 중요하죠.
Calm and relax.
네, calm down, relax.
Okay.
The target is just a few meters away. To a professional archer, this distance would be like swimming in an inflatable kiddie pool.
슈팅, 슈팅, 슛. 오케이.
That was terrible. That was terrible.
오케이. 오케이. You ready?
While I get better thanks to their advice, with the bow and arrow in hand, the psychological strain weighs on you.
Okay.
The South Korean archery team has nothing to fear.
I think I need 20 more years and then I might be ready for the Olympics. It was really interesting hearing those insights at both archery ranges because I've got a bit of a confession to make. I'm no athlete. I can't hit a target, I can't net a basket, I can't kick a goal. And that's because I buckle under the pressure. And you know what? I know I'm not alone.
1, 2, 3. Wow, number one.
Back at Kim Hyung-tuk's famous academy, his latest class of archers have completed their training. They're off to compete at major international competitions, armed with Coach Kim's teachings. Those who provide psychological support to some of the world's best hope the mental training doesn't just make them tougher athletes, but better human beings.